reviewing Classic Stage Company's production of William Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, adapted and directed by Igor Golyak, running through December 22nd at Lynn F. Engelson Theater at 136 East 13th Street in New York City. If you've been following me for a while and haven't come to visit my Patreon page, what are you waiting for? Show a little love by becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month, where you can support my work here as well as my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee, where our latest discussion on the 2004 film Ray is currently available for patrons only. Your support means the world to me, as this critic business is expensive. Thank you to my current patrons, especially my Neo and Hamilton tier patrons, and welcome to the new ones. A link will be in the description. A transfer from the Arlekin Players Theater in Needham, Massachusetts, Igor Golyak, whose artistic director, Arlekin, has doubled down on the audience complicitness of The Merchant of Venice, making it a firm and bold story against anti-Semitism, staging the play in a sort of 1950s variety show where the host happens to be played by Antonio, played by T.R. Knight. Played in very broad comic fashion, Antonio and the players ineptly attempt to get a live television production of The Merchant of Venice up and running, having us cheer for the handsome Bassanio, played by Jose Espinosa, who seeks for Antonio to cover a bond for him so he can woo the wealthy Portia, played by Alexandra Silber. Antonio's money is currently tied up in international trade operations and can't give Bassanio the money directly, so goes to Shylock, played by Richard Topol, to borrow the money, with Antonio indebted to pay the money back later. Shylock, who has been victim to repeated anti-Semitic attacks by Antonio in the past, agrees to the deal upon the condition that if the loan defaults, Antonio must pay him back with a literal pound of flesh. Bassanio agrees to the terms, and, well, the default occurs. Meanwhile, there's a lot of romantic carousing as Bassanio attempts to woo Portia and other Venetians have their dalliances. I find that Golyak's attention is more dedicated to the issues surrounding Shylock, Antonio, and Bassanio, though the romantic relationships throughout are intended to appeal to Shakespeare's romantic comedy audience, and it's chock full of sight gags and silly elements. I don't think the play, and especially Golyak, intends to give anyone a pass in their complicit guilt in how Shylock is treated. He is repeatedly mocked by the characters throughout, being forced to wear demeaning big nose and glasses with heavy eyebrows to play up the anti-Semitism of the characters, while encouraging the audience to participate in the humiliation. If this makes you uncomfortable, good. It's supposed to. It makes me wonder if audiences in the late 16th century would have had similar reactions with the way Shylock is ill-treated throughout the play, and if Shakespeare had similar intentions in making the audience complicit in participating in the anti-Semitism, like he did with making audiences support Iago throughout Othello. This would make The Merchant of Venice an ironic tragedy. In that regard, Golyak very much succeeds, and masterfully so. Topol's Shylock is a pitiable character who has been repeatedly wronged by Antonio, and his desire for vengeance becomes his fatal flaw. Topol's performance is about as perfect as it can be. As an actor, he embraces the reality that Shylock is in a world where everyone hates him for being a Jew, and does his best to fight back to the point of despair. T.R. Knight is appropriately sleazy as Antonio, overconfident and manipulative, not only of the people in the play, but of the audience as well. It's tactfully balanced through Golyak's direction. Though it is sometimes hard to embrace because of how dirty it'll make you feel as an audience member, the design by Jan Pappelbaum and costume design by Sasha Ageeva play into the easing of the audience into the illicit, vile anti-Semitism of the characters. Having it set in a near-modern world with a young, attractive, mostly Aryan-looking cast dressed in frivolous attire helps to draw the audience into an enticing world where living in a world of ignorant, selfish desire is more appealing than paying attention to the slights and injustices around them. Some of you, I'm sure, have had horrible experiences with lesser, unsympathetic productions of The Merchant of Venice, where Shylock is portrayed as the absolute villain of the play. I would challenge everyone who have experienced such portrayals, and anyone else for that matter, to give this production at Classic Stage a try. Igor Golyak's daring and challenging presentation of the play offers new light on a classic. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see The Merchant of Venice, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be links to my Patreon and Spotify pages, as well as my social media handles where you can support my work. You can also support me by liking and sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be the Broadway production of Eureka Day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.